Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are on this fine planet. This is Paul Raw, coming at you with the hot take. This is a serious hot take. I'm going to make this as short as possible, you know, with my hot take on something that I see on my timeline on Facebook like crazy. I've yet to read the articles or even watch a video or anything. I'm just not interested, because I like to forecast. I like to think or use that stuff between my ears sometimes, not too much. Can't take yourself too serious. Can't. But when it comes to what I see online, I need to address this. But let's start out with the obligatory fair use disclosure. Um, fair use. Hopefully, it will work this time. I think if you listen to my last broadcast, my last episode of Snapshot of Peter Pan Africanism, yeah, I got a copyright strike during the process. I didn't even post it. It's just, it wouldn't go through. It's blocked. But yeah, there we go. Now that that's out the way, let's get to the topic at hand. The title of this hot take is Undue Female Empowerment. I like to start off with I am not a member of the manosphere. I am all for female empowerment. I'm just not for undue female empowerment. That's I'm not for that. It makes no sense, and it actually cripples our woman, and that's what it's done to our woman for the most part. Heaping all this praise and unnecessary attention has, you know, pulled them off their pivot. And, and I say that very respectfully because I love my sisters. I love you guys. But this undue empowerment has to stop. It really does. And I'm going to get through it real quick. Okay, we're at 7 minutes. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving, baby. Okay, so if you just listen to everything I said, you most likely know what I'm going to talk about. You know, remember, like, comment, share, hook your Playboy partner up. But here we go. Yes, the LSU Iowa debacle. I didn't watch the game. I don't watch sports hardly ever. I'm just, I'm not interested in sports too much. Um, I will say if they bring back real sports, I'll, I'll really watch. I think if you could pay attention to what I said in my first episode of Snapshot of Peter Pan Africanism, I spoke about how the game changed, at least the NBA and the NFL and baseball, all of it. I used to watch sports like crazy as a kid, but then it became boring. I mean, let me use baseball as an example. Baseball was already boring. And then they made it more boring by bringing in all these immigrants that made it more boring. First they tried, when I was a kid at least, first they tried it with the Japanese guys. And they were decent, none of them really took off really. They didn't make it like a thing. And that's because they had, obviously, the Japanese men had other things they could do. Obviously. But then once all the Latins took over, it became super boring. So I did watch sports at one time. I wish it was as entertaining today as it was in yesteryear. I really wish, because it's just, I mean, you guys could like it. Whatever you like, I love. I'm not knocking it. It's just boring. Let's get back to the topic at hand. Don't want to become too tangential. I listened to one of my broadcasts, and yes, can't go off into too many tangents. But here we go. So this LSU thing, I see this as a way to popularize female sports, you know, and I'm not knocking that, because I went to a high school where my girls' basketball team was more successful than the male basketball team, so it was kind of a thing for us to go watch them play, So I'm not against that. Um, I still like the movie Love and Basketball, even though at the end they turn Omar Epps into the wife, and what was the other girl's? What's the girl's name? Damn, Sanaa Lathan. Okay, so they turned Omar Epps into the wife and turned Sanaa Lathan into the husband. Hey, I still like the movie, so I say all I have to say is I don't want to sound biased or misogynistic. Okay, because again, I'll like to reiterate, I'm not a member of the manosphere. Okay, um, but they're really trying to gear up to popularize female sports, or to make us watch the games, because nobody watches the, I mean, not to my knowledge. I've never gone to somebody's house or spoken to someone on a WNBA game night and seen them watching the game, or they've never told me, "Hey, I'm watching the Sparks. They're beating the hell out of this team or that team." And see, I don't even know another team's name to use as the opposing team. I only know the Sparks. But yeah, it just doesn't happen. Um, but I think they're trying to gear up to popularize female sports, particularly black female sports athletes, because we have a lot of girls that should be given a chance to pursue their dreams to their fullest potential. But at what cost? Do we elevate the women over the men so that they can have more, of a chance to become popular through sports, just to do it, just to do it. That's it. But let's keep this moving. But I believe they're going to try to popularize female athletes by infusing it with the race discussion, racializing things that are really not really worth racializing. Like, let's look at the picture on the screen. They took this picture and made this more than what it is, in my opinion. And then, like I said, I haven't really gone too in depth or really looked into the story. I only read the headlines and one article. That's all I need. So she's taunting the girl because she won the championship. Wow, whoop de doo. And then you have the little white girl walking off with her eyes closed. Do you really think they didn't pick this picture on purpose to make it seem like the black girl is a bully and the white girl is just, a damsel in distress who's been cheated out of her win? So they're trying to racialize things because racializing things has worked in the past, particularly for the NBA, you know? So, and I say that after really finding this article. Um, let's see if we could bring this up. This article is very interesting. Um, okay, let's bring this article up. Let's see, let's find it. Okay, here we go. Okay, this article right here. The racial politics of the NBA have always been ugly. A new book argues that the real history of the league is one of strife between black labor and white ownership. And this is a reality. I mean, if you read the $40 million slave, this is you're quite aware of the racial dynamics of the NBA and professional sports, period. But even though that's an issue, the racial politics are an issue for the NBA, it actually gave way for its growth. Like I said in a previous broadcast, God will push you in the right direction. That's just how it works. I mean, that's if you believe in God. But I believe in God, and that's just how it is. Deal with it. Call me an idiot. For all you atheist geniuses, God bless you. Take care. But here we go. So, for better or worse, the racial politics did play a role in the development and popularization of the NBA. Let's look at this part right here. They're speaking about pretty much in this book called The Black Ball And I'm going to pick up a copy of this because I want to read it. This article gave a good snapshot or a good um, coverage of the book. And the article is from the New Yorker. It was released on March 21st, 2023. So this is a very recent article. And even before I read this article, I knew of this history. I mean, it's common knowledge if you're into sports to any degree. I'm not into them today, but I was at one time. Um, so let's look at what it says right here. As a 20-year-old star at the University of Detroit, Haywood, they're speaking on Spencer Haywood. He was an LA Laker. To my knowledge, as a kid, I remember hearing his name. And he also, was popular after that. But Spencer Haywood, a 20-year-old star at the as a let's get back to the article. As a 20-year-old star at the University of Detroit, Hayward played on a all-black starting five, a rarity at the time, and lobbied for the team to have a black coach. That was a rarity at the time. And we're talking about this is the 60s, late 60s, early 70s. That was a rarity. We would laugh at that today. If we would laugh at a team of all white players today. So it is, in my opinion, that the racial element led to the popularization of the NBA, because I believe that every person innately has a desire for justice. And when those kids who grew up watching sports saw the injustice waged against the black players, they took it to heart, and they obviously showed their support through their viewership and their money. And that is just my opinion. And if you read the article, they have little nuggets of information that will allude to that. So go read the article. We're not going to do that because we're already at the 17-minute mark, and I want to make this short. So yes, let's go from that. And like I said, the NBA used the same method to gain viewership, and I think that's what they're trying to do with the black female athlete. Is pretty much racialize things, and that's just my opinion. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. That's just what I forecast. And the NBA used this tactic, whether it was planned or by circumstance. I don't care. Either way, the proof is in the pudding. It played out before everyone's eyes growing up. And in the article, they even state the down periods of the NBA were the 70s and 90s. And if you know anything about basketball and history in America, the 70s was super black and the 90s was super black. And after each period, the NBA rebound 3 times over. So think about the 70s. Bam, you have all the fights, everything. And they talk about it in the article. You have all the fights, which were sometimes racial, and then you have the beef with the owners and the players in the 70s, and the owners are white and the players are black. They speak about it in the article. And after that, after the 70s, who do we get? Jordan, then a huge explosion. Let's go to the 90s. They racialized things by way of people like Iverson, who was getting his hair braided on the court and showing up to practice late. And then that's when they were bringing the old tropes, laziness, entitlement, lack of discipline, and all that other stuff. Don't know the truth to the claims, but that is what they use in the media to describe the player's behavior. But then after going back to Iverson in the 90s, when they had the dip, bam, after the 90s, what happened? Kobe then got another boost in viewership. So that racial element always does something for sports, particularly. And it does something for America too, because they use the same method in music. They pretty much blocked black artists from any type of airplay and showtime, and the black artists pretty much outperformed everybody else, and now they became the most popular music in America. But that's neither here nor there. So we got that out of the way. So what am I trying to say overall? Like, this popularization of our Black female athlete will lead to the downplay of our boys playing sports or becoming athletic or showing any type of, interest in being great. And that's not, I mean, there's one thing I know and we should all know, because anything I say it should be common knowledge. And what I'm going to say is non-racial. But every oppressor will use the oppressed group's woman to control the oppressed group. I'll say it again. Every oppressor will use the oppressed group's woman to maintain their oppression. No, I didn't repeat it exactly as I did the first time. I know, I don't give a damn. But you get the idea. So that this is what's happening right now in real time. In real time. So, but let me show you something. While we're doing this undue female empowerment, while we're doing that, everybody else is doing something else, particularly the other non-whites, or would I say the buffer class. They're doing the total opposite, the total opposite. And when I say doing the total opposite, I really mean that they're creating media to really empower their men. And, and shout out to Green Gorilla, because I watched pieces of his latest video and he's kind of alluding to this. I didn't watch it in its entirety, and that didn't inspire me to do this video, by the way. That's just an add-on to what I'm saying. I only just wanted to do this video because I saw everyone posting and talking about this stupid story. It's stupid. But let me get to this. Okay, where is this? Oh man, I should have. Yeah, man. Thank you for your patience. Please comment, rate, subscribe. No, actually, people don't say rate anymore. They just say, hey, comment, like, subscribe. What is in? Let me find this. Okay. Here we go. Okay. What the hell? There we go. So I just saw it. So while we are sitting here making everything to cater to female empowerment, other people are doing stuff to empower their men. And this is really non-racial. This is something that's going on in the West, particularly. When I say the West, we all know what I mean. America, Europe, whatever. But everybody else is doing the opposite. Why is that? And we see everybody else has higher test scores. They're for the ones who come to America, they make higher pay than everybody else. That's not a coincidence. So we should pay attention to other people's moves, to maybe mimic them or understand why they're doing it. But while we're doing the female empowerment, other people are doing stuff like this. Check this out. The movie's called RRR, and I need to watch it myself. I've only seen the trailer, but I plan to look it up and watch it. But someone shared this. But here we go.
जब स्कॉट सर अपने परिवार के साथ आदिलाबाद आए थे तो एक छोटी बच्ची को ले आए। वो दरअसल गोंडों की बच्ची है।
तो उनके सर पे सींग होते हैं क्या?
एक गडरिया होता है।
शेर को पकड़ने के लिए शिकारी चाहिए।
एक आदमी है सर।
जान से भी प्यारी तुम्हारी दोस्ती तो हमेशा होगी। खुशी खुशी कुर्बान हो जाऊंगा।
मुझे यहाँ छोड़ के मत जाओ, माँ की बहुत याद आती है।
ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट से बगावत करने के जुर्म में तुम्हें अरेस्ट करता हूँ। छुप छुप के, डर डर के नहीं, सामने से वार करना होगा। जो भी रास्ते में आए उसे काट डालेंगे।
बहुत खतरा है, जान गवा दोगे।
खुशी खुशी गवा दूंगा चाचा। अपनी जंग ढूंढते हुए हथियार खुद ब खुद आएंगे।
Brace yourself for wrong. Brace yourself for
भीम, इन तुच्छे राक्षसों को छोड़ महासुर का संहार करना है। हाँ,
brace yourself.
Okay, I'm back. You see what you saw? They are making media to encourage their men and boys to have courage. That's something that's not being done in our media, particularly Black American media. I can't really recall too many movies or shows that, empower our males. Let's be real. I can't think of anything offhand. I mean, the last thing we had that was pretty masculine was The Harder They Fall, but that had patricide at the beginning. Patricide is essentially the wanton murder of fathers or murdering someone's father. I mean, people could look at Creed 3 as empowering our men. That was really, I mean, I didn't see the movie that way. And that's not a knock to Michael B. Jordan. I don't know if he was a writer. I know he was a director, but yeah, that movie really pit Black men against each other like they always do. They started doing that a long time ago. One of the first movies I can remember was Jason's Lyric, where they pit Black men against each other instead of making them cooperative partners. But like I said, this is really non-racial. This is something that's just a part of society. Like, I can remember this book, which came out years ago, and I actually kind of read through it real quick a long time ago. But this book right here was something that really highlighted what was happening at the time, and it was happening to white people at the time. Come on. Here we go. The War Against Our Boys, How Misguided Feminism Is. Oh, man, shut this down. Yeah, here we go. The War Against Our Boys, how misguided feminism is harming our young men. I remember this woman going on her press run for this book, and each time they didn't really object to her or get angry with her, but they did sit there and make it seem like what she suggested was laughable. But as you can see, they switched that, they changed their tune, which with movies like Guardians of the Galaxy. All that was a revisiting of something like Star Wars, because Star Wars was like the epitome of empowering or just showing boys a way they could be a hero no matter their beginning or their circumstances. And that was true for all of us. Like Star Wars was non-racial. I watched that movie and felt empowered. And what's so ironic is when I tried to play this, I forgot, I think it was The Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, I tried to play The Empire Strikes Back for my son. He was totally disinterested. I said, I really couldn't really understand why he didn't want to watch it. But bottom line is, this is really something that's really an American phenomenon. But they're really going to use us to really do that because we're primed for control. That's just a reality. Okay. So let's go on to another country that has really realized that masculinity isn't a bad thing. And there's no such thing as toxic masculinity. I don't believe in that. That's nonsense. Do I believe in something like unrestricted power is corrupting? Yes, of course. But masculinity does not equate to unrestricted power. Stop it. Let's see if we can find this next clip real quick. Comment, like, share, please. Where is this thing? Let's see, what is this? Okay. No, that's not it. Doot, 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 doot. Here we go. So while we're doing all this female empowerment and stuff, I'm just going to show you where they're not doing it, and you will see what country. And yes, we should pay attention. Why not? And I'm only going to play a piece because I don't want a copyright strike. But here we go.
我为什么在我们中华文化这个国度，大家为什么反感娘炮？
Peng Xiaohui is a retired professor of sexology. He still gives lectures on his WeChat channel, where he opposes the culture of effeminacy.
Cis man， 我们可以翻译过来就是阴阳气的男子，可以这么去翻译。我的意思就是说，娘炮文化不能成为一个国家的主流文化价值体系。娘炮文化的这些个案，它不能作为一个 idol。青少年期未成年人，他会追星。 他会抹杀掉自己男孩的那种天性，然后，跟女性趋同，然后养成的性格，他就是怕苦，怕危险。个案没有问题，你个案的选择我们也可以接纳他，但是你把这种男人的这种阳刚之气抹杀掉，作为一个国民性。
Riverside is the leading platform for.
I hate commercials. Oh. Let's do this.
View Riverside as
一个国家如果是循着这个方向发展，意味着这个国。
Let's rewind it a bit so we have some continuity.
一种男人的这种阳刚之气了，但是你把
However, to wipe out masculinity, let's start right there again.
这种男人的这种阳刚之气抹杀掉，作为一个国民性，一个国家如果是循着这个方向发展，意味着这个国家是自寻死路啊！你看为什么日韩娘炮文化是得到了美西方的支持啊？为什么日韩是美国的殖民地啊？至少是半殖民地啊。
So, if you're reading the subtitles, which you are because you're very intelligent, I'm slow. You see what he said. You can see how Japan and Korea have embraced femininity in their men. and they're both pretty much American I mean, I wouldn't call them provinces, but they're American installations, if I could use that word. Bottom line is America has military bases in both places. And so is there a direct correlation? I don't know. I just know it's awfully, interesting and quite ironic. My favorite word, people. Oh, the irony. I forgot where that's from. The movie I watched it. I think it was a black and white. Yeah, I just became tangential again, huh? But bottom line is, you see what he says. They've done this in Japan and Korea, and America controls both countries. But let's finish this.
他不要日本和韩国去反抗他呀。而美国和欧洲他自己他的演艺界他的文化他并没有宣传娘炮文化呀，他还是拯救大兵瑞恩呐，他还是蜘蛛侠呀，他还是施瓦辛格演的那种钢铁男人啊。你这样的把男性的这种阳刚之气、那种反抗精神、那种尚武精神，把它抹杀掉的话，当然有利于美国统治日韩嘛。这个驻军日韩嘛，对不对？那么对应咱们中国，如果咱们中国的国民性全是娘炮文化的这种习性，是意味着什么？有人上战场吗？
So you saw what he said. You read what he said. He essentially, for people who hate subtitles like me, he essentially said the popularization of femininity in our men will lead our country to doom. So just apply that to Black America. It's the same concept. That's the same thing. It will lead to doom. And I say this even more so after growing up in the Bay Area. And this is not a knock to the Bay. I love the Bay. I miss it. I may even return to the Bay. But they really, really allow too much of the femininity to take hold of the Bay. And that's why you heard the music coming out of there the way it came out. Too Short wasn't an accident. Too Short was a response to this oppressor using our woman to oppress us. When he said the B word, he was really saying, hey, look here, do not let this man fool you and try to get you to believe you're over me. That's essentially what he was saying in a very childlike way, because he was a child at the time. Too Short was in his 20s or actually his late teens when he made his first songs. So he didn't know how to really articulate what he saw as wrong, just like NWA. They just didn't know how to. But that is essentially what they were saying. At the core of their music, that's what they were saying. And I'm not in support of it necessarily, but I understood it and everything you should gain in understanding. But going back to the Bay, that femininity that they push has led to where they are today with the homelessness there is crazy. The gentrification is like no other. I mean, just go there. I mean, you don't even have to go there. Just YouTube. I mean, man, here we go. Everything happens for a reason, I guess. But look what just happened no more than a few days ago. The CEO of Cash App was stabbed in San Francisco. Stabbed to death in San Francisco on prime real estate. He wasn't like in like the Hunter's Point, or he wasn't even in the old South of Market area. He's not in the Tenderloin. He was on prime real estate. And that's not to make a connection between the popularization of feminization and the death of the CEO. I'm just saying it all plays a part. Everything adds up into one big heap pile of shit. Okay? That's just what it is. Okay? We're all interconnected. There's a cause and effect to everything in this universe. So witnessing this in California really made me feel that way. And like I said, I'm all for female empowerment, just not undue empowerment. If you want empowerment, I want something more than, what you're presenting. I want something more than what they've given you. I want more of you and more of ourselves, more of me too. Not just, I'm not trying to badger anyone, because no one's perfect. No one. But the bottom line is I want more for you and of you than just your hair and your nails. I mean, like, just look at the picture that they used for this young lady. I don't know her name. Oh, there we go. Caitlin Clark. Her hair is good. She has her baby hair is on point. And her nails, even though she can't have real nails, at least they look well kept. And look how they have her pants. Her shorts are just, they're really showcasing the camel. I mean, loosely, but it's not a fine camel print, but it's there. But I want more for you than that undue empowerment. I want, if you're Mae Jamison, I'm all for that empowerment. Rosetta Tharpe, I'm all for that empowerment. Okay. Professor Welsling, I'm all for that empowerment. We can even take it way back to the archetype, to the Mother Queen Goddess, Harriet Tubman. I'm all for that empowerment. But for this undue empowerment, man, get the hell out of my face, man. Yeah, I almost curse. I need to stop cursing. I listen to myself. I curse too much. But damn it, give me a reason not to curse. That's what I say. But yeah, as always, let's end this on a good note. Hopefully. And again, I'd like to thank you for your time. And and I would like to also stress the fact that I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm just using my brain. Excuse me for doing that. Okay? Excuse me. Please, excuse me. I can't help myself. I know I'm just a dumb nigga from Brownsville, but hey, man, please excuse me. Also, a dumb nigga from South Berkeley, please excuse me. Please excuse me. But, God bless. Have a good day.